Um, well, I can. I was thinking about this question, and I don't really want to name one or two, but because I've read so many non-English poets in translation, um, and I can't really say which one or two are the most important. Um, so, like, there's a series of books called the Penguin European Poets, and I think I started reading them a long time ago. But when I was very young, I did read a lot of German poetry, especially Rilke. So Rainer Maria Rilke. So he was very important for me at the time. Um, More recently, the French poets like Rimbaud have become really important because I'm learning French and I'm learning to read French, and I've been going back to the French poetry um, in bilingual editions, and being able to read the French with a bit more comprehension. Um, who else? Oh yeah, actually Cavafy. I must say, Constantine Cavafy, the Greek Alexandrian poet, was extremely important to me when I was a student. I used to carry the Faber edition around with me and subject people to readings of it. I'd say, I read this. This is great. So yeah, those two. Okay, we'll leave it at that. I suppose Rilke and Cavafy, but there are lots of other ones. Yeah, I think reading poetry in translation is very important. If you can't read it in the original, it, it's it's one way of accessing. It's a way of accessing other cultures and other ways of looking at the world and other imaginaries. And us, especially for us English language poets, because our language is sort of now the global language of so much. I think it's important to keep. Well, ethically, it's important to keep non-English poetries alive by reading it and by buying it. So because it's we're a community, and not all of us speak English. So yeah, I'm a bit suspicious of English taking over the world as well. The imperialism of English could be a dangerous thing, Okay, the first part, yeah, we did consider it, and decided we wouldn't, because for practical reasons. One, if we included poems written by Asian Australian poets that were written in languages other than English, we'd have to get them translated, which meant paying translators, and basically we didn't have any money to pay translators. But as a principle, it would have been great. But you can imagine that the resources you need are very big. So it would have to have been 500 to 400 pages at least, because there are also so many community languages that you should include, and also you'd start to get into discussions about which languages you were neglecting. But because there are poets who write in Farsi, in Hindi, I suppose, in Sinhalese, in different dialects of Chinese. I mean, well, yeah, etc., etc., Thai. So there you go. The second part of the question was, I've forgotten it.
Do you think there's a place in Australian literature and publishing for writing in other languages?
Oh yeah, yeah, there is, of course, and again, it goes back to that idea of one language dominating all the others, or one language and and English dominating all the other languages, in a sense. Um, yeah. So, I mean, it's well, my answer, personal answer, is when I was growing up, my mother didn't speak Thai to me because she thought that I'd do better in life if I learnt English first. So she didn't really know at the time that children can grow up perfectly bilingual or trilingual even. So that idea that somehow you have to sacrifice uh, your one language for another is, well, it's a bit scary, really. Yeah. Um, so that's the short answer to it. I'm working with my mother translating Thai poetry into English, and she's been doing rough transcriptions of poems and sending me her transcriptions, and I'm in sort of dialogue with her and to refine those. And what's interesting about it is it sort of really requires three people: the poet, my mother, and myself. And it requires us to kind of get together. But that's very difficult because I don't speak Thai, and um, my mother's computer, oddly enough, doesn't have Thai font on it. So we've got, anyway, these are sort of problems that shouldn't be there, but they are. Anyway, it's been great because there are a whole lot of young, exciting poets from Thailand who are going to be published in a book published by Michael Brennan. I think it's going to be a Vagabond Press book, and it'll contain some of our translations. So I'm very excited by that, and so is my mum, because she's never done anything like this before. So before that, she used to work for the Federal Police, translating bugged conversations by Thai speakers. So this is a lot more fun for her, I think.